As a homeowner, there's a lot of things that you say, I'll take care of it later. But whenever it comes to the garage door, there's some things you can't ignore. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Garage Authority Podcast, powered by A1. I'm your host, Jonithan Phillips, and today we're bringing on the one and only, the Pennsylvania Hershey Bear himself, the one and only Dylan Kepley. What's up, dude?
What's up, baby?
Nothing much, man. Today on this episode, I wanted to go over warning signs that homeowners cannot ignore. Well, they can ignore it.
Sure can.
They sure can ignore it.
Sure can.
I say they do that more often than not.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
That's the reason our entire company exists.
Yeah.
Actually, is ignoring it.
It's floating in the air.
Yes.
What do I do?
But we got to go over these warning signs that people ignore. So I figured, why not bring the most electrifying, entertaining man in all of garage door? Electrifying. To talk about these things, because you got to make it entertaining. And it's like, check your door, make sure it's not heavy, get maintenance. That's boring.
Is it making a lot of noise?
Yeah. Do you have metal on metal? No, but we gotta talk to the masses and let them know, like, hey, don't ignore this. So I'm gonna get straight into some questions and let's have a silly goose time. Now, what's the most common warning sign homeowners tend to ignore, in your opinion?
Audible. Anything audible. Audible. You know, I've said it before, and whether it's in private conversation, like now that like this is just my entire world. Right. But even on here, you use your ears. We do everything, and everything's routine every single day. If there's something that catches your attention, and as a technician, if someone called us out for a tune-up, I always asked, you know, what made us make the phone call, essentially. And 9 times out of 10, it was, I heard this. Right. You know, whether it's a spring breaking and it's a loud bang, and it does. It sounds like a small caliber firearm when that thing breaks, but it's screeching. Yeah. Screeching is a big one. Anything that you can audibly hear that is the nails on a chalkboard, at that point in time, that is a hard stop. That's a hard stop. I recommend you get your car out, bring the door down, and at that point in time, if we're hearing anything like metal screeching, binding, it's something it's not supposed to sound like this. Yeah. Yeah. At that point, call a professional. Right off the rip. Don't kick the can down the road, please. Yeah, but audibly, anything audible.
So when you say audible, like when your door's making these sounds, can you give an example of like what those sounds mean per se?
Screeching, any kind of screeching could be rollers. That could be rollers binding. I've had steel rollers that just completely seize up. That could be your bearing seizing up. That could be, screeching could be a gear and sprocket ripping forward, and you can actually hear that, like that as it's rotating, it's jammed. It's jammed.
Just shearing itself away.
It's just shearing itself away. And again, it's loud. It is where I've gone to these homes and I'm like, okay, show me what the noise is. And as soon as they open it up, they can see your face go, ooh. Yeah. And it's, again, as soon as you hear something like that, it's time to call somebody.
And I think just any metal on metal screeching, popping, creaking sounds, like if your door's popping and creaking around, that means that whenever it's going up in the air, that's fatiguing back and forth. As it's fatiguing, it's metal. It's like a paper clip. It's getting a crack in it. Yeah. And then that sagging gets worse over time. You hear screeching, any type of screeching, whether it's that gear and sprocket, usually that gear and sprocket, which is what that chain or belt goes around where the operator's lifting and opening the door. What's happening is that only gets that way for one, if it's super old, but usually because the door's heavy. So when that snaps off, that thing is a giant guillotine that's just falling to the ground. And I tell you what, when doors are 200 plus pounds and they fall from 7-8 feet in the air straight to the ground, it's not like, oh, well, everything's fine now.
Yeah.
It's usually like an accordion and just crumples everything.
They don't have that choice on the Calm app to fall asleep to metal on metal screeching. That's not a thing. So again, if you're hearing that, there's something major that could be going. Sometimes it can be a simple fix. Something like, again, like if I've had metal rollers that are seizing up, and as soon as I take them out and put new ones in, whether they're nylon ball bearing, or if you're a listener, 6200 ZZs, closed bearing rud rollers, and that's the easiest. It's easy fix. It's done.
Right.
It's done. That was it. That was the main problem. But like you said, that could lead to a Pandora's box of issues, and 9 times out of 10, that door is heavy, and there's a lot of pull that's going on, which is causing that excess noise.
Now, how do you feel about? I actually just had a friend in a market where A1's not at. They called me the other day, and they're like, "Yeah, 2 months ago the door wasn't closing, but now it closes with if I hold the button down inside on the wall," which is basically what's happening. Is so there's something wrong with the safety eyes, and they are bypassing it by holding it. Like, this is one of those things that we're talking about where, hey, this is a new thing that's happening. I found a quick workaround.
Yeah. I jailbroke my phone. Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm going to bypass the number one safety feature on a motor moving this.
It's the same as like hitting the top of your TV when they had bunny ear antennas.
Yeah.
Just being like, no, this will fix itself. We're all good to go here.
Yeah. Just a little bit more.
No, it's a safety issue. That's a safety issue. And not just that too, but now you're having to hold that thing down, and the timing on it has got to be perfect. Has got to be perfect. It's one for any homeowner that's just trying to live their regular day. It's an inconvenience. Mm-hmm. But that's a safety problem. Your safety eyes are federally issued, and it's code. Don't matter what state you're in, it's for a reason. And that could be something as simple as just getting some new ones replaced, fresh wire, getting some new ones. I've had them whether they're just old, and now all of a sudden I call them fogged over. They're glared over from the sun. Mm-hmm. I've had stray cats chew the wiring and everything. 100% stray cats chew the wiring and whatnot, but safety eyes need to get replaced. So one, we're not having to bypass the safety protocol that's already built into the computer of the operator.
Right.
But just making sure it's going to work reliably. It's going to work reliably. So I've had someone who, same deal, where it's like, oh, I've had to hold this down for the last 4 months. And so I'm like, okay, so you've backed your car out of the garage, walked back into your house, like back into your garage, held that thing down for 8 seconds, and then had to walk through the front door of your house. And they're like, yep, for 4 whole months. And I was like, isn't that like, again, isn't that inconvenient? Like, yeah, it's been kind of a pain, to be honest with you. I'm like, okay, great, man. Like, well, let's get it done. Like, let's get it taken care of so we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want it to work reliably and safely, but like reliable at the same time. So we can just click the button, like, all right, cool. Everything's good to go. And we can go on with our day.
Now, also, since we're on operators' motors as well, whenever people are starting to get inconsistencies with like remotes and keypads, and sometimes during this time of day and blah, 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 blah. Another thing that's occurring to where I just keep hitting the button 4 or 5 times until eventually it makes its way down.
Yeah.
Typically, this is a logic board issue. This could be interference from any type of new electronics, Bluetooth, automatic irrigation systems, all these things. But really, it's just things getting older with time. Right? Receivers do go bad. And I mean, you can get a new board for it. Like, you can call LiftMaster, you can call Genie and get that stuff. Putting it in yourself probably isn't a good thing. So they're going to send it out. Hopefully it's within warranty, or you're going to spend like $200 and then you're going to get a company out there. They're not going to do it for free.
No.
And then that might work.
LiftMaster's always been great. We deal with them predominantly, and where we are in Phoenix is nice because they have a main warehouse in Tucson.
Yeah.
So we take care of our people. If it's within warranty, I'm a very big advocate of, sometimes you just have a manufacturer defect, and if it's like a simple, board problem like that and everything, a lot of the time it can get replaced and we get it taken care of for them, no charge, no charge, or for a small labor fee, and then we're good to go. Those older models, those older models, and why LiftMaster says on their box that the door needs to be balanced. You know, the older the model, just like an older computer, like those internal components they fatigue. And once we start getting past a certain year of manufacture date, it's hard to get those parts. At that point in time, we're looking at a full replacement, and just, logistically, logically, it makes sense.
Yeah.
For long term. But those parts wear down, and I've seen them wear down pretty quickly if that door is not balanced and the springs aren't doing their job. And again, it says it right there on the LiftMaster box: will void your warranty if this door is not balanced. Meaning, if the springs aren't doing their job and that door is not floating 3-point inspection, they will not replace the part. It'll void your warranty, and that's something that can definitely burn out those parts at a faster rate. To the point, I've seen them do that for motors that are 2-3 years old. They're not meant to pick up 50 pounds of excess weight. That's not what they're designed for. They're smart. They're smart. They ain't that strong. They're not built. They're not tanks. But those logic boards, again, that goes into inconvenience. That's an inconvenience. I've had plenty of calls where they've been dealing with that for 6 months. I've had conversations where this same conversation of, this is what's going on, these are the fixes, this is more of a short term, this is more of a long term fix. And they've kind of kicked it down the road and said, I've reset it. It was able to get reprogrammed. And I tell them, it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. It's just kind of a matter of when. And they get it working for a week or two, and they're like, oh man, like, this is so nice. Like, I remember when this did what it was supposed to every time I click this button. And then it just stops working again. And now you have to walk into the front door. And right now, when it's 1 billion degrees in Phoenix, you can't be outside for being outside for 10 seconds feels like the last couple of minutes of Total Recall when they're on Mars, and it's just boom, faces coming out of the spacesuits and everything. It's brutal. We want to get into the garage and go into the house where it's a nice, cool. Hopefully if you're, we're keeping it in 70s. If your house is at 80 degrees, that's crazy.
Some people do that.
That's wild to me.
Willy-nilly, and I just
78 and above is absolutely buck wild to me.
My in-laws do it. God bless you. I love you guys so much. You're the best in-laws I could ever have. However, sleeping at their home sometimes, I'm like 78, and they're like, we're kind of chilly right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Ain't me paying for the electric bill and everything, but if we can keep that at a crisp 74 and below, it'd be much appreciated.
I'll throw you a 20. Please. But all these things that we're talking about, these inconveniences, this having to go out, loop around, do a front flip, your dog's freaking out at the front door just to go in and close your door, dealing with remotes, dealing with sounds, dealing with unnecessary things. You could have fixed it, or at least minimized it, with just a little bit of maintenance. Yearly maintenance. Having a professional come out.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing that you can do.
These computers that they have up there, even in the year and a half that I was in the field, I've seen operators that have gone for 20 years.
Yeah, they can do it.
Have gone for 20, 30 years, have never had problems. And 9 times out of 10, it was somebody who was on the up and up, whether it was through us, they did, the DIY that I would recommend. And then had professional maintenance taken care of, but they were on top of that maintenance, and were able to elongate the lifetime of said motor. So by the time it gets to the point where, again, it's, I had a Formula One that was a LiftMaster Formula One, was like 25 years old.
It's my favorite motor until the 8550.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. They're champions. Yeah. And it finally started having travel problems. It started having travel module problems where it forgets its limits essentially and closes halfway and whatnot. And I flat out told the guy, I was like, man, like we've gotten a lot of mileage out of this. And he was like, yeah, you're 100% right. And he kind of walked me through like everything he did. And I just had nothing but kudos to the guy for keeping it up, because again, I've seen new motors that we put them up, and the rest of the rest of the system is not maintained, and those parts that are inside of that computer start burning out within 2 years.
Yeah.
Within 2 years. And then if you have a particular model that warranty's done, at that point, well, I can order this, we can order this part for you, but it's going to come out of your pocket, and it's something that could have been taken care of had we just maintained or been a little bit more on the up and up. Or, when my technician was out there last and said, hey, this is going to be, preventative maintenance, and you took advantage of it then, well, now we're looking at like a bigger issue here.
Right.
Now, you're just kicking the can down the road, kind of.
And I feel bad in a way, because I just imagine that you're a homeowner and you have the most terrible, just screeching, banshee garage door. And then you get a new operator, right? That 2-year-old model. It's not their fault that they're under the impression, because that now it's a DC motor, it's a belt drive, it's running as smooth as possible.
Yep.
The door sounds better than it ever has before. So it almost tricks people into thinking, oh, I have the new motor on the door, everything's fine.
Yeah.
When really it's your motor was making a lot of sound, but that load that it's pushing and pulling, if you really want to maintain that brand new motor, and it's got bells and whistles and it comes with a price, okay? It's the same as cars.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Back in the day, you get a car, easy peasy, a little bit cheaper. Now it's hard to get a car for like less, a brand new one for like 40,000. And there's not really a market for
40,000 and a pinky.
Yeah, 40,000 and a pinky. And there's not really a Bob's used operator lot.
No.
Right? So you mostly get them new. Don't fall for it all because the operator makes the door seem that it's running smoother.
No, and so much of that goes into education. I mean, those are two sides of the coin. You have the one side where it's the actual operator that, yes, it's what looks like is physically lifting up the door, but it's more of that guide. Again, it's just that computer system. And then you have the whole other side, which is the actual door and all the other components of the door. Again, all of our guys, we go through that 29-point inspection and tell you everything that's happening, and it's for a reason. Whether it was myself in the field or myself as a supervisor who kind of walks guys through whether they're brand new, they've been with the company for years, just making sure that we give our people their options, and also too diagnosing it the same way that a mechanic will. Like, I mean, if you go to a mechanic and do a full diagnostic check on your car, they will tell you all the things, like, this is what needs to happen immediately. This is what we're going to be looking at in the short term, and this is what we're going to be kind of looking for, towards, but more down the road and everything. They will hit you with, again, in the same way that we do, green, yellow, and red, and walk you through everything. I've put up plenty of operators. The door's 10 pounds on the ground. It's right at that cusp. And I tell them, well, we can get ahead of it. We can get ahead of it and everything. But if we don't want to do it today, I would highly recommend that we get this taken care of at least within the next year. Because if we let this go and these springs fatigue and the store gets heavier, this new motor that we just spent, $2,000 on or whatever, is going to wear out a lot faster. As opposed, we should be getting no problem 10 to 15 years out of this motor, but we need to get the other side of the coin taken care of. And it's our job to make sure that we're educating, walking them through everything. And we do. I mean, all my guys do a great job with it, but we're trained to do so to make sure that we have options, and we give them a timeline on what needs to get taken care of and when it needs to get taken care of.
Absolutely. You heard it here. You can't ignore the audible. You can't ignore the maintenance. And most of all, don't ignore that technician and what they're saying when they come out to your house. Dylan, thank you so much for coming on the pod. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, brother.